So it looks like the MLB is opening up an investigation against Shohei Ohtani after this big scandal with gambling and everything, after the Dodgers fired Shohei Ohtani's interpreter, Ippei Mizuhara. Today, about, I would say 20, 30 minutes ago, the MLB has opened a formal investigation into illegal gambling and theft allegations involving Shohei Ohtani's interpreter. And like I said, he was fired, and there's a lot to break down with this. So ESPN said in an interview on Tuesday, this past Tuesday, where he told ESPN that Ohtani gave him money, sent him money in order to pay off a gambling debt, which he had ballooned to $4.5 million. And then he came out the next day and said that Ohtani had zero knowledge of his gambling debts and he hadn't transferred any money to the bookmaker's associate, which questions how the hell did the money get there in the first place?
Right.
It's
question.
It's a great question. It looks like there were two transactions, each totaling $500,000 that were in Ohtani's name, with the wire transfer information, the description being a loan. There's a lot going on here. A lot of situations because Ohtani and his interpreter may be in hot water depending on what comes out of the MLB's investigation. I want to know, what is your reaction to this entire situation between Ohtani, MLB, and his interpreter, Ippei Mizuhara?
Yeah. Someone is not telling the truth.
That's for sure.
Right? I mean, how could the guy said, the interpreter said, that he went to Ohtani and said, I've got this huge problem. I'm never going to do it again. Can you help me out? And Ohtani said, yeah, I'll help you out. I'll pay off your debts, right? Then he came 2 days later and said Ohtani knew nothing about it. Well, who made the wire transfers out of Ohtani's account directly to the bookie?
Yeah.
I could see the wire transfer out to the interpreter, right? You could do that, but who made the wire transfer directly to the bookie? I would think Ohtani did that, right? Does Ohtani trust other people with his bank account?
That's a massive question.
Does the interpreter had access to his bank account?
Yeah.
I find that a little hard to believe.
Yeah.
To me, that's hard to believe. And, they're in hot water. I think they're in hot water, and rightfully so. The gambling sports gambling in California is illegal.
It's illegal.
Right? And while the MLB will allow you to gamble on the sports outside of diamond sports, softball or baseball, it has to be with illegal parties.
Right.
And the interpreter was doing it with an illegal bookie. So that's a problem for the MLB, and the Dodgers have fired the interpreter, and the IRS is investigating both the interpreter and the bookie now. So, and law enforcement is at Ohtani's handler's requests is also investigating the interpreter. I don't know. Ohtani has people who help him who are supposedly his handlers. How the hell does something like this happen? The $4.5 million. Well, you said $1 million was.
He sent according to this report, he sent $500,000 directly to
the bookie,
to the illegal bookkeeper.
Yeah.
And then according to the information, it's directly from Ohtani's account to this bookkeeper.
Okay, that's the wire transfer. How did the rest of the debt get paid off? I can't believe the interpreter had $4 million to pay off the bookie. I don't think they pay interpreter. The Dodgers pay somebody like that kind of money to be just an interpreter.
He gets paid $300,000 to $300,000 and $500,000 annually, according to.
How the hell can he run up debts of $4.5 million?
He actually had a quote about that. Quote, "I'm terrible at gambling. Never going to do it again. Never won any money. I mean, I dug myself a hole, and it kept on getting bigger, and it meant I had to bet bigger to get out of it." And just kept on losing. It's like a snowball effect. My major concern is the story keeps changing. And normally, where there's smoke, there's fire. So originally, and by the way, his interpreter, Ohtani's interpreter, Mizuhara, they're very, very close with one another. They've been longtime friends. He comes out and says, Ohtani was trying to help me out. Then, this is what's fascinating. Ohtani then has a law firm, come out and say he's the victim of a massive theft, and we are turning the matter over to the authorities. So this turned from Ohtani potentially being in some hot water by sending this over, and then the MLB has to investigate it, which they are doing now, and he could be suspended for a year for gambling illegally, using an illegal book. And also, if it's bet on baseball, he could be banned from baseball. That's the massive thing. Then this lawyer comes out and says, no, he's a victim of massive theft, which then puts all of the blame on the interpreter for embezzlement and wire fraud and theft. So now, here's where friendship and brotherhood get put to test.
Yeah, well, they're not friends anymore.
Is Ohtani's interpreter willing, if behind the scenes Ohtani did allow him to do this with his money, is he willing to take the fall for him?
Yeah.
Which could be decades in prison, federal prison for this. It's a massive question. But this, and the reason why this is so big is because Ohtani right now is the face of baseball. He signed this past offseason the biggest contract in North American sports history. 10 years, $700 million, which got the weird deferred thing. 10 years from now, he's going to get paid $2 million for the next 10 years, and then $680 over the next 10 years. It's the biggest contract that we've ever seen in professional sports, at least here in North America. And lo and behold, we have a situation where his translator is in massive gambling debts, and Ohtani may be in the center of this. And now the MLB is getting involved. Originally, they were not. That's what the story was. They haven't yet gotten involved. They refused to comment, and now it looks like they've gathered enough information since learning about this allegation to feel like the Department of Investigations need to get themselves involved and figure out what exactly is going on here. Now, Ohtani can still play. He can still play baseball while this investigation's going on.
Yeah.
But the MLB is involved. The bookkeeper right now, his house got raided late last year. This situation.
Yeah. What I'm hearing is that the bookkeeper, there's been some confirmations that the bookkeeper never dealt directly with Ohtani.
Correct.
So that's good for Ohtani.
That is what he said.
That's good for Ohtani, but having direct wire transfers from your bank account to an illegal bookie, that's hard to explain. And I think if Ohtani was foolish enough to allow the interpreter to have direct access to his bank account, and he never watched what kind of money was being moved in and out of the account, shame on him.
Yeah.
And his handlers, too. I wouldn't say they're handling him very well if they allow something like this to happen. It's really, I find there's something not right here. It smells very bad, and there's a lot of unanswered questions, and we'll have to see what happens next.
Well, here's the big thing, and then here's where it could get interesting. So there's a rule underneath the collective bargaining agreement called Rule 21, which states that any player, umpire, or club or league official or employee who shall bet any sum whatsoever upon any baseball game in connection with which the bettor has a duty to perform, so betting on his own team or himself, will be permanently banned from baseball. However, in that same circumstance, if any player, umpire, club, or league official or employee who uses an illegal bookmaker or agents or whatever that is involved with this illegal bookmaker, it's up to the commissioner's discretion to figure out what the penalty should be. And someone might ask, has this ever happened in baseball? Is there a precedent? Yes, there is. Back in 2015, Marlins starting pitcher Jared Corsart used an illegal bookkeeper in order to bet, and was, I believe, he did not get a ban, but he got fined. So this is not unprecedented in baseball. Mm-hmm. We also have the Pete Rose situation where, which is...
The difference here, though, is Ohtani didn't do any betting.
Supposedly.
Supposedly.
He was unaware of it.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he was handing his bets over to the bookie. I mean, to the interpreter. Yeah. But but if he was doing that, he wouldn't be running up a $4.5 million debt. He would have been paying it off as he went along.
Well, there's the question.
Yeah.
Did Ohtani know? Originally, it's yes. And the quote that Ohtani's interpreter used was, after Ohtani agreed to pay the debts, Mizuhara said on this past Tuesday, that Ohtani logged onto his own computer and sent the wire transfers under Mizuhara's supervision in installments over several months last year. They added loan to the description field in the transactions. So, did Ohtani make these wire transfers? Originally, it's yes. Then the next day, it's he had no idea any of this was going on. And he found out when the team announced this was going on and when he got fired.
Well, there should be when you make a wire transfer, right?
Yeah.
I would guess They either do it in person, right? You go to the bank.
Especially with that much money.
Right, with that much money, you either go to the bank or you do it on a recorded line. I'm sure it's going to be on a recorded line.
Or at least go to the bank and say,
so they're going to be able to find out. They're going to be able to find out who made the wire transfer. Was it Ohtani or was it the interpreter? And if there's evidence for that, I got to believe it. I got to believe
have to go to the
they're
bank
not going to do it.
On.
I would think that they would make Ohtani do it.
Right.
Right? Because he's the owner of the account. So this is that's probably why the MLB, they've been thinking about this. They think, this is the wire transfer, the $500,000 at a pop is not going to be done by a bank without strict controls and authorization by the owner of the account.
Right.
Either through a signature, a signed form, right?
Yeah.
Or I guess you could say the interpreter might have forged his signature.
Could be.
On a form. Or, in-person request or a recorded line. Yeah. So they're going to find out, I think. And they'll be looking at if it was a signed form, they'll check the handwriting. Right. They can prove whether he signed it or not.
Could be. So. They're obviously going to probably go to the bank and say,
I guess Ohtani could sign a form that is a request for a wire transfer and put the reason, a loan to it wouldn't have to say anything about paying off a gambling debt.
Right.
So this is something else, man.
And supposedly it was the illegal bookmaker, the bookkeeper that told him to put the loan down, as in the description.
Really? That's in there too?
Yeah, we had to add a description for the wire, Mizuhara said. I think Matt Boyer, I believe his name, or Bowyer, might have just told me to put loan. Quote, you have to put something. So this is a crazy situation.
Crazy, man.
Because he's the biggest player in baseball right now, and he's basically the modern era of Babe Ruth, the modern day player of Babe Ruth. This is a massive situation. And if it comes out that Shohei Ohtani, maybe unknowing to him, bet any money and you're down $4.5 million, or if you keep losing, what do you know? And if you're trying to get out of it, what do you know the best in order to maybe allow you to win back some money? Maybe the Dodgers, maybe Mookie Betts is dealing with an injury. Shohei's not 100%. The pitchers maybe don't have their fastball. The starting pitcher that day might not have their fastball. You might try, in order to get out of the debt. I'm not saying, this obviously isn't confirmed or anything. You may bet on what you know best. And that could be the Los Angeles Dodgers. That's where it gets very, very hot. Because if it comes out that there's any money bet on the Dodgers, this is very, very bad. Not only for Ohtani and his entire situation, for baseball in general.
Well, they say they didn't bet on baseball, the interpreter, but the interpreter, I think the interpreter, so far, I can't believe anything he said.
Well, exactly.
It's all contradictory. It's all questionable.
Then he said he didn't know.
No, yeah, right.
Within a 24-hour span.
Yeah. What do you bet? He skips the country. I mean, he's in Seoul, Korea now. He got fired over there. Yeah. So he's probably going to head back.
That's when Shohei found out.
Yeah, he's probably going to head back to Japan and never come back to this country. I don't know what kind of extradition rights there are between Japan and the United States. They'll probably try to extradite him, bring him back here. He's not coming back to the USA. I'm sure of that.
This is I would say, while the technical situation of using an illegal bookmaker is not unprecedented, this type of big-time player with this type of situation, it's back and forth and back and forth. I think that is pretty much unprecedented.
I mean, for sure, Ohtani, let's say he gets suspended for 1 year. It costs him $2 million, right? Because his contract is peanuts for 10 years.
Yeah.
And then he gets the huge payout.
$680 million for 10 years.
But the Dodgers probably have the right to void the contract now. They could probably void that contract if they wanted to. But they don't want to because he's the greatest player in baseball right now.
Yeah.
He might not be too smart, but he is the greatest player. So this is going to be very interesting.
Just shows you, even maybe your closest friends might be able to take advantage
I would
of
say
it.
It's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be played out here for any time real soon. I bet this
might get dragged out.
I think it got dragged out for a while. I don't think you'll see anything soon on this. Although the wire transfers should be easy to confirm. You should be able. There's going to be some documentation of that, either through him being there at the teller booth, telling him to do it, and signing a form. Or signing a form and sending it in. But I would, for $500,000, I would think they
Twice.
want twice. So
Yeah.
you would think they would, the bank would want a recorded line, a Zoom, him personally asking for it.
Yeah.
Signed in front of a witness at the bank, those kinds of things for that kind of money. I don't know. You'd think the controls would be pretty tight around that big a lump sum wire transfer.
It's a very, very big situation here. And baseball is known for some not great reputations. Steroid era, Black Sox, now this. Not great. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, if you want to check out the full episode, make sure you click the I in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to listen to this show anywhere you go, make sure you go to anchor.fm/The Harvey Hour or anywhere you get your podcasts.